everybody, it's the 13th Wolfman. You know what today is? Today is day 27 of the 31 days of horror. That's right. 31 movies, 31 days. Talk a little bit about them, review them. And before we get started, I would need you to like, subscribe, comment, and share. And when you are subscribing, hit the bell, ding the bell, ring the bell. That way be notified anytime I put something new up. It just helps me get my stuff out there so other people can see it. Yeah! And I'm not the only one doing this. There is Mood 616, Double Shot J, Nightmare Maven, Let's Talk About Movies, I Am the Ice Lord. Who else? We got Retro Horror, Random Horror, Tony Has Nine Fingers, and the one and only MSJ. Yeah, Brother Max. Just go tell Brother Max I sent you over there. Say hello. Today we're gonna jump in the Wayback Machine to 1962. So technically 1959 because the movie was filmed in 59, but it didn't come out until 62 because of, I guess there were a lot of legal problems between those. In those 3 years, and that is The Brain That Wouldn't Die. The Brain That Wouldn't Die. Okay, so when I was at Dollar Tree not too long ago, I'm looking through the movies. I find a DVD collection of like 6 movies, and The Brain That Wouldn't Die was on it. And I remember watching this movie all the time when I was a kid. This is like one of those movies that it fell into public domain, so it seemed like it was always on. I always thought it was kind of cool. But when you watch now that I'm older and a little bit more wiser and a little bit more on my movie knowledge, I'm watching it now because before I just watch it just to watch it. I'm watching it now. I'm going, oh, I see inspirations here. I can see that The Brain That Wouldn't Die was kind of inspired by Dr. Frank, by 1931, James Whale's Frankenstein. And I can see that Stuart Gordon took the idea took an idea from this movie for Re-Animator, and I don't know, I just see all this stuff, and it's the coolest stuff ever. But let's get into the movie. So what it is The Brain That Wouldn't Die was written and directed by Joseph Evans, I believe. Yes. And Joseph Evans only made 3 movies. He made The Brain That Wouldn't Die in 1962. He directed The Legend of PK, I think is what it was called. It's all about this actress that became a stripper that once thought to herself, if I could get some big people in her movie, then she could have her career back. That came out in the 80s. And then they remade The Brain That Wouldn't Die, I guess in 2020. I didn't know this. I now need to find that copy of The Brain That Wouldn't Die. So in the movie, there's a doctor that who is experimenting. His father's a doctor. He's a doctor. His father's, they're at the beginning of the movie. They're in the operating room, and the guy dies on the table. And the doctor says to his father, he says, "Now that he's dead, can I do things my way?" And his father's like dead set against, you don't experiment on people, you experiment on animals, and you wait until you can prove your theory, And he goes, well, fine, he's dead, do what you want, but I'm not really for it. So he tells his dad to send a little bit of electricity to the heart and massage the heart at the same time, and they cut open they take the lid off the brain, and he's touching it with electrodes, and the guy comes back to life. I mean, I simplified it a lot, but there's a lot more going on than just that. But that's basically it. His experiment caused the guy to to have a pulse and have a stronger pulse and live. And so he's like, well, that's great. You know, he wants to do transplants. He wants to be able to take someone's arm that was, you know, say someone died in an auto accident and they lost their arm. You know, he wants to take that arm and be able to put it on a guy that lost his arm in like a war or something like that. And he's developed this serum that makes rejection not a problem. Again, I'm seeing bits of Re-Animator there. Serum, you know? And so he's got the weekend off. He's going to go up to his family cabin. His dad also doesn't like the fact that they still have this cabin. He's like, I should have sold that cabin after your mom died. You know, and he's like, well, that's where he does all his experiments, is up at this cabin, and his dad doesn't know it. So he's going to take himself and his girlfriend up to this cabin for the weekend, and he wants to show his girlfriend what's going on. And on the way up there, they're in a car accident. She's decapitated. He saves the head. He gets to the cabin, goes up there, puts the cabin in a tray, little metal tray, and hooks all these electrodes and wires and, you know, blood up to it. And so her head is still alive. The tray is sitting in a pool of blood. And I'm sitting there going, this is the thing, the tray is just, I mean, the movie magic is there's just a hole cut in the tray and the head is sticking through it. But they got this masking around her head and around her neck to hide the hole, you know? So it looks really, really good for 1962. And they got this dark ooze, because it's black and white. We're going to call it blood, because for all we know, it could be chocolate syrup. But it's just puddling, like right around the neck here. And they got an air hose, like something you would get out of an aquarium. And it's causing the blood to ripple. And it looks really, really effective, really, really cool. I mean, it just amazes me what they could do back then. And nowadays we rely on CGI. So her head's alive. Now he needs to find a body. He wants to replace her. He wants to place her head on another body, and that's where the movie gets interesting, because he needs a fresh body. If you understand what I'm saying. So yeah, the Doctor's losing it a little bit, and this movie was awesome. And it's funny because the copy of the movie has every now and then something squirrely would happen. You know, like lines would go up through the film. You know, it was not stuff that was added later. This is because it's public domain, so they got the best copy that they could, you know, to put out. And it kind of felt like I put an old VHS tape in or something like that, and I'm watching it, or I'm watching it off of an old black and white TV. Yes, you young people, they actually at one time sold just black and white TVs. And yeah, so that was really cool. I really dug this movie. Like I said, the movie came out in 1962. It premiered. I looked this up. I did not know this, but it turns out that the premiere of this movie was in Seattle. September 1962, it premiered in Seattle at the Paramount Theater. It was on a double bill, and I'm not sure what the second movie was, but yeah, I think that's the coolest thing ever. I had no idea. I just loved it. So what would I give? I would definitely give this 2.5 chainsaws out of 4. It's an average movie, but it's a little bit above average. And if I was going to use Brother Max's scale, see, I think he should watch this with friends because it's such a cool movie. But I actually think he deserves to be more of a 3. You know, a little bit higher than that because the look of the special effects. So I'm gonna give it a 4. I'm gonna give it a 4 on Brother Max's scale. You know, this really is a horror. I mean, it's a horror classic. If you haven't seen it, check it out. If you have seen it, talk to me about it. Like I said before, like, subscribe, share, and comment. I always want to know what you have to say. As always, I am the 13th Wolfman, and I'm on the prowl.